Welcome to Let's Get Metaphysical, the show that stretches you beyond your five senses. When you are looking for your next step on the path into the unseen, we've got you covered. Join epic adventure seekers and level up your game with your host, reality magician Bierman.
What is a metaphysical ministry? Hi, I'm Reverend Bierman, and 14 years ago, I became an ordained metaphysical minister. So here's what it's all about. Your senses, what you can see, hear, taste, smell, touch, they only reveal to you 1% of the world that exists. Well, what does that mean? It means that 99% of reality is beyond your five senses. So what we're talking about here today on our Let's Get Metaphysical, Connecting Heart and Mind podcast is all of the invisible forces that are driving all of your actions, all of your choices, basically creating your world as it looks. You know that everything has to start with somebody thinking about it, okay? But thinking about doesn't create. When you think of something, if you then attach an emotion to it, and what happens when you attach an emotion? Feelings. That's when it goes into your heart. It's your feelings, it's your heart that communicates up to your mind, all through your body, mind, and sends messages up to the universe that simply responds and sends back the same energy, manifesting what you're feeling in your heart. If you have never done so, and if you're new to this whole concept of the invisible forces that are actually creating every moment of your life, I've got a gift for you, how to take your first steps on your spiritual path, and you will find the link to download that in the show notes. So let's get back to all these invisible forces that are guiding everything. What would be a kind of, for instance, this has happened to you. You're thinking about someone and you haven't talked to them or seen them in a long time, and you might be in another country from where you normally live and they normally live, and all of a sudden you run into them. And if that hasn't happened, this surely has. You'll get a phone call from the person who you were thinking about. That's because there's no such thing as distance. Distance isn't real. It's a human construct. When you allow yourself to know and to feel all those energies that are starting in your heart and running your world, suddenly your world changes. You become aware of things that are important to you right then. And you knew they were important, but so long as you were knowing it up in your mind, it was impossible for you to make any of those things happen. Do you know your mind only exists when there's a thought running? You go to sleep at night and you don't have thoughts running. You have no mind. The mind isn't what creates your world, but what happens in your heart, your feelings. That's what creates your world. Now, as a metaphysical minister, 14 years ago, I would invite people into my home. So I had a perfect house and the perfect space to share all these kinds of cool experiences. And I call them gatherings. And I did them every week. And in fact, if you look in the playlist for the metaphysics, you'll see a whole lot of the metaphysical ministry international videos, which were my weekly gatherings. So you can learn a lot by just watching some of those. And what I want to especially draw your attention to is the speech I gave at my ordination. It was a formal ordination. Each of us who was ordained gave a speech. My speech was all about the laws of giving and receiving, which are really the same laws, both sides, because you need to do both for either one to work. When you look at your world with new eyes, suddenly you see, oh, I wanted that to happen in my life. And it did happen. Oh, I wanted not to have that happen in my life. But the universe doesn't know how to interpret the word not. So that's going to happen too. It's really, really helpful for you to learn how to live in the reality, to ask for, to feel into what you want, what you desire in your life, instead of what you want to avoid, instead of what you don't want in your life, because you'll just keep getting more and more of that. And if your world looks like all kinds of stuff that you keep saying, I don't want this, I don't want that, now you know why. I'm really glad that you're here today. One thing that I always did when I was doing my weekly gathering, that I'm doing here with you now, is to share a happy share. So what's a happy share? A happy share is something that leaves you personally feeling happy, feeling good, feeling at peace. It's not about what happens for your child or your best friend or your spouse. It's what happens for you. And it leaves you feeling in a different space, a space you want to live into. Consider that every reality, every possible reality exists simultaneously, and you get to choose. In each moment, you get to choose which reality you want to be living in that moment. That's how you're creating the world that feels good, the world that feels abundance, because you came here to know love, starting with yourself. Because if you don't know how to love yourself, how can you possibly put out energy that's going to bring people into your loving energy who can then love themselves? You've got to start with yourself first. And once you know that kind of love, and it's just part of you everywhere you go and people feel it. Once you're living in the love, the next step that happens is joy. So you come into this life to experience love and joy. And everything that follows is growing out of your desire for love and joy. If you ask for what you want, you're going to get wants. So you're still not going to live those realities. However, when you know what you desire, again, it has to come from your heart. And right now, your mind is cluttering up the communication between us, because what your mind is doing is basically filtering everything I'm saying, because it doesn't want you to hear, to know your deep message of reasoning for being here. No, it wants to stay in control, and to do that, it wants to keep you from making any changes. So right now, whatever I'm saying, it's say, okay, I agree with this. Oh, that's stupid. Don't listen to that. You know, you could be doing something better with your time right now, so let's get out of here. Those are the kinds of messages that your busy chattering mind, that isn't even you, that isn't even your voice, is putting up as a blockade, so my message isn't coming in clearly for you. And you get to choose to say, thank you for sharing, and actually listen and directly process what I'm speaking to you now. Thank you so much for joining me here today for Let's Get Metaphysical, connecting heart and mind, and look for more episodes of Metaphysical Ministry International.com. Website isn't back up now, but that's okay because it's the same message coming right at you, right here. Let's Get Metaphysical, connecting heart and mind. Join our Facebook group where you can ask questions and get some extra information. And you can always head on over to our website, letsgetmetaphysicalshow.com. And there you get to listen to or watch any of our more than 100 episodes so far. And choose, and you can watch many of them if that's what you desire to do. Be sure you pick up your copy of How to Take Your First Steps on Your Spiritual Path. And there's something really special for you over at Audible. I have a library of metaphysical books, and there are a whole lot of people I listen to. And to start you someplace simple that's easy to jump into is Dee Wallace's book, Born. And in the future, I'll give you a list of other metaphysical books I think you'll find comprehensible so that you can start applying consciously, directing all those invisible forces making your life look as it does. You can start with a free trial over at Audible. Just follow the link in the show notes, and you have 30 days to go in there to look around. I just finished listening to a really book called Napoleon's Hemorrhoids. It's a book about things that happened throughout history that, because of the situations, like Napoleon having hemorrhoids that day, created outcomes that were no way going to happen. And things from political situations to social to sports, you name it, to health. A really, really fascinating listen that I think I'll also put the link up for that one because you may want to go there. The most important thing for you to do today is recognize it's the invisible forces driving your world. Not the five senses, the invisible forces. So discovering what those forces are and how they're operating in your world, that's going to make life not just easier, but more pleasant, because you'll be living the life you want to live, coming from your heart. Remember to enjoy, that's capital I-N, capital J-O-Y, every moment. Because nothing in your life, absolutely nothing happens outside of you. It all happens within body, mind, spirit. I look forward to seeing you here next time.
You've been listening to a talk on the wilder side. Thanks for tuning in to Let's Get Metaphysical. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss a single episode. And while you're at it, please leave a rating and review, and be sure to share it with your friends. Tune in every Monday for more exciting insights and wisdom on life beyond your five senses. Until next time, take a small step in a new direction. Start now.